Hey, how's it going, guys? The Everything Show, Season 2, Episode, what is it? 6 or 7? I'm confused, man. It feels like it's been a while since I've recorded, but I need to check this out because I'm losing it. And you guys are watching me right now. You'll check me out. It is Episode 7 of Season 2. That's so dumb, huh? But how's it going, guys? Glad to have you guys back. It's been a while. I know, a bit of a busy week for Oscar, but I'm glad I'm with you. Bit of a busy week. Work got started up again this week, and it just, it caught me a little off guard, having to do stuff, and what I mean by that is I was off the previous week, and you get into that routine of not working, right? Of not doing anything. And I knew, a little tiny bit of me knew that when I came back to work, that it was going to be a tough go. But it wasn't that tough. It was other stuff that happened this past week that made it a little more difficult. Fuck. Owning a house sometimes sucks, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the house and what we have in it and what it looks like outside. But the shit that you can't see is what always ends up biting you in the ass. And that's exactly what happened this past week. We had plumbing issues. And it's not like, hey, someone dropped a toy in the toilet, or there's too much hair in the drain. No, it's a lot worse than that. You got roots that are invading your fucking sewer line, and it's making everything get backed up. I don't think you've lived until you see, how do I put this? Sewage back up into your bathtub. It was disgusting. The smell was intense, and I know that was all my wife because I just can't blame her. No, it was obviously, who knows whose it was, right? It was just whatever was going on down there, being caught up with. In the root system, inside of the sewer line, getting caught up there with all the other stuff that we as humans evacuate, and the stuff that we use to keep ourselves tidy was getting caught up there. That occurred last week at the end of my spring break, which was good that I was on spring break, right? Because I was able to keep an eye on it and on the plumbers that were here working on our line. But let's not even get into the numbers of expense, future expenses, because the job isn't done. It's just ridiculous. And so, as I said, owning a home absolutely sucks sometimes. And I say sometimes because it really is like maybe between 1% and 5% of the time is when owning a home sucks. All the other time, honestly, it's great, hosting family, and you have your children, and all of the good stuff, right? But fuck, man, those fucking repairs. Who the fuck? Why would you fucking put clay pipes under a home? Why do you do that? Now, granted, our home isn't a new home, but come on. There wasn't any, thinking ahead. What's going to happen to this material with time? Just unbelievable. And I know that technology's advanced and it's gotten better, and man-made materials and all that shit. But fuck, man. Whatever, man. Just whatever. I had a rough time last week a bit Sleep was lost, just the constant thinking. And then, of course, you go back to work, and, it's that added, and I'll call it for what it was, earlier this week, that added burden of working and having gone through what I went through last week, what we went through, because we had to clear out the home, have as few people here as possible so that there wouldn't have to be a need for water usage. Granted, it was taken care of in a couple of days, but it's a big thing that you got to do to make certain, you take care of what you need to take care of, but the issues that you have at home, but taken care of. But it kind of dragged into this week, and then having to start up work again after spring break. It carried over, and I felt it. Yesterday, I felt as if I was getting sick, and this has happened on occasion to me. It's happened to Rebecca, where she feels as if she's getting ill, like she's coming down with a cold, body aches, almost like a fever type feeling over the body. I didn't have that, but I had really bad body aches. My hips were hurting, my shoulders, the muscles in my arm, like my bicep, and that's still kind of bothering me today. But those aches, I know, is from being tired, and I know it's also stress related. And so, I took Advil, clears everything up in like 20 minutes. I swear, man, it's a fucking miracle drug. And I drive home from seeing my son, and I go, I'm going right to bed. I'm just going to bed. And I had probably the best night of sleep I've had in a very long time last night, and I know that the Advil aided in that. It helped me out because it does relax me. It was phenomenal. I had great sleep, and I feel, and I'm kind of looking at myself right now on my monitor. I feel like I look a little tired. My eyes are kind of burning, it feels like. That sensation of like jumping into a pool, right? No goggles, and you get like the chlorine in your eyes. I have that sensation, especially right now in my right eye. But it's a lot more relaxed. It's even better knowing that it's Friday and I can just kind of do this. And I don't mean to say get it out of the way, but I needed to get this one in. But there was just all that stuff going on, and I didn't feel as if it was the right time for me to start talking, because it felt like if none of that was over with, you know what I mean? You want to get it over with, and then you want to be able to, voice all that stuff that's caught in your chest, in your head. It's like, let me just say it. But making certain that it doesn't come back and bite you in the ass, right? So, like, it would be very odd me speaking to you and saying, oh yeah, we're past it, but the plumbers are coming tomorrow. Like, I'm not going to do that, right? But things have gotten a little bit better, and knowing, especially as I said, that it's Friday and that I can kind of chill out is all the better. I know Rebecca's been tired, and she came home and she's currently napping, and that's good. She needs it. She deserves it. She needs to rest. I mean, that chick is constantly busy, and I'm not even talking about just being busy with work. I mean, she's taking a baking course right now. It's a 30-day baking course, and she's doing phenomenally. She's doing extremely well in it. The next time she comes in here, I want to essentially kind of interview her about it, because she's been doing a fantastic job, and she's really dedicated to it. And, she's not half-assing it. Obviously, you sign up for something like that, 30 days, you don't want to half-ass it, and she's definitely not. And I'm super proud of her, and so she deserves a bit of a break right now. But yeah, we had some plumbing issues, but that's taken care of. Went back to work. My daughter actually is going to school now 2 days out of the week, And that was a big change for her, obviously, right? She didn't want to go. Once she's there, she's great. But it was a big change for me also. I guess that's the way I'm going to feel when I become an empty nester at some point. Because her being gone was really hard on me, especially that first day. She goes on Mondays and Thursdays. And so that this past Monday, was really tough on me. I didn't expect to feel that way. I was like, okay, great. She gets to go. I have a little bit of more time to myself in the morning, and suddenly she's gone. I'm like, what the hell? What am I going to do with myself? It was the oddest feeling, and I missed her. Then I went to pick her up a few hours later, and we had lunch together, and it was great. But that first day was a little strange, not having her with me, or not being in school with her, right? As I sit down with her, and we do her her kindergarten. But she got through Monday. She got through yesterday, right? Going to school. She's doing well. So a lot of little changes there, but here we are. Episode 7. I mean, these things are they're blowing by super, super quick. Things are looking better, and it feels good. Something that helped me over the last week and this week, so over the last 2 weeks, something that helped me was I went back into my childhood a little bit, a lot of it actually, 6 seasons worth actually, so you know where I'm headed towards. Excuse me. I got caught up watching one of my favorite shows ever, especially growing up. I got caught up watching all 6 seasons, and I literally just finished watching the final episode about an hour ago. I watched all 6 seasons of The Wonder Years. I loved that show growing up. It resonated with me, and so over the last 2 weeks, maybe a little bit more than 2 weeks, I was hooked, and I binged it on and off, right? Between, I guess, Dodger games, I would watch it. I got caught up in it, and there's so much in that show that took me back that I kind of want to talk to you guys a little bit about it, because sometimes you never know these things that are out there for us, that we've seen, that we've experienced already once, right? You never know how they're going to affect you when you encounter them again. And it was kind of like a light bulb that went off that said, why don't you watch that show again? Anyway, I'm going to take a break, all right, guys? When I come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about The Wonder Years and why it was so impactful in my life, and why I went to it, and it actually helped me get through the last couple of weeks. So when we get back, we'll talk a little bit about that. The Wonder Years, probably one of the greatest shows ever. Not my all-time favorite show, but probably the most impactful. So we'll be back, guys. Thank you for joining me again. It's Oscar Witcha, The Everything Show, Season 2, Episode 7. We'll be right back, alright, guys? Just chill as I stop recording right now. Hey, we're back, guys. Season 2, Episode 7 of The Everything Show. It's Oscar Witcha. Hope you guys are doing well on this Friday. Ah, man, it's great. I mean, seriously, it is great considering the 2 weeks that I've had. Again, not bad, not horrible, just weighing, right? Just just stuff you got to go through. And but here we are, man. It's totally cool. But had to do a couple of things to chill me out over the last 2 weeks. And I mentioned that what I did was I decided to go back in time a little bit to my Wonder Years, and I started watching. I watched actually all 6 seasons of the Wonder Years, and it caught me off guard seeing that other than season 1 of the Wonder Years, which was only 6 episodes long, every following season 2 through 6 has well over 20. And it kind of, I forgot the way network TV works or used to work, right? Because that's a lot. That was a lot. You check out a series on Netflix or what have you, right? HBO, Showtime, whatever it might be. They're not that long, right? 10 episodes, 12 episodes, maybe even less. I mean, if you think back to like Game of Thrones, they were a lot less than that. So I think they had like 6 to 8 episodes, granted an hour long, right? But still, I mean, these are half-hour episodes, and I believe like season 5 of the Wonder Years had like 25 episodes. It was ridiculous, but ridiculous by today's standards, but not ridiculous in the content, and not ridiculous in the subject matter. Obviously, it was a show that, as I said earlier, resonates within me. It did it when I was a kid, and it was on, and it still does to this day. It was great, and it was extremely relaxing, and it was just awesome to kind of reminisce in 2 ways. Reminisce in recalling the moments of watching that show when it was actually on ABC, and then when it was on reruns. Out here, if I recall, it was on Channel 11 in reruns. For years it was. And also reminiscing to the moments I had that were very similar to Kevin's experiences as he was growing up. It was a phenomenal show. It is a phenomenal show. There's some duds in there, of course, when you have 6 seasons and you have on most seasons over 20 episodes. There are some duds, but then there are some that are extremely poignant and powerful and heartbreaking, and also, they just some really, really feel-good episodes. But before I get more into detail with the Wonder Years, I haven't done this in a while, and I've been looking forward to it. Let me adjust my microphone for a little bit. I've been looking forward to it because I haven't done this in a bit. It doesn't mean that I haven't had my sips. I have. I just haven't done it on the show. And I don't think I've ever done it on the YouTubes, right? I'm about to do that. And I apologize if those of you that are going to be catching this on YouTube, if my head goes into my logo over here. I'm just shifting around, and I'm keeping it straightforward right now. I changed up my setup. I know that I've told you guys about me having double monitor setups now. I don't have that anymore. I have one singular widescreen, ultra widescreen monitor now. And so I have it set up as if there's 2 monitors, right? Because it's long enough to where you can set it up with software to do that. And so that's what I have. On my right-hand side, I have my OBS feed, the video feed, and on the left, I have my audio feed. And so I'm just checking that out, and everything's cool. So I apologize if it looks kind of weird that I'm doing this every so often, nodding my head, going side to side. But totally pumped up about having the opportunity to crack one open back on the Everything Show for episode 7 of season 2 today, going back in time and talking about My Wonder Years and The Wonder Years, the TV show, of course, right? So today, I am going to knock back, and I think Rebecca and I have had these already on the air. She may have had this one. I don't recall. She may have had another one that had the name Monkey in it, but I don't think she had this one. I think she had one titled Golden Monkey, called Golden Monkey. This one is called Sour Monkey. It is from, let me get that on screen. It is from Victory Brewers in Pennsylvania. Getting a bit of a glare there. It is called Sour Monkey Sour Triple, right? 9.5%. I'm going to get fucked up right now. Because what time is it? I've got 5 o'clock. I had lunch at about 12:30. So it's going to do something. But as always, let me crack one open. And let's get on with this episode. But it's been a long time. Let me tap it. Let me tap. Tap it like that. And I'm going to crack it open right now. The best sound in the world. Oh my gosh, that was good. And I'm going right out of the can, guys. Because why the fuck not, as I always say. The Victory Brewers Sour Monkey Triple. Alright? Cheers. That's sour. Strong flavor. By the way, if you guys see my eyes right now doing that whole thing, you guys remember, was it, I think it was Keystone Light commercials, the bitter beer face, right? I don't have bitter beer face. I have sour eye, syndrome right now. The SES is what's going on because it is sour, all right? But it is good. It is refreshing. Cleanse the palate completely right now. This is gonna be good. I think I'm gonna start getting a little bit of a gleam here. I'm gonna get that red face going in a bit. I can feel it already. That's good stuff. Again, guys, thanks for joining me. We're gonna have a little bit of a chat about reminiscing with the Wonder Years TV show. I think it called to me, that show. If you don't know it, which I don't know why you wouldn't, but there might be some younger people. Well, you know what? Like my kid listens to this, right? My nephew listens to this. They're 10, 11, 12 years old. The Wonder Years is a show that took place. It was set in the 60s, right? Late 60s and early to mid 70s for the length of the show. And the main protagonist, the main character in that show is Kevin, little Kevin Arnold. And when this show started, which was another memorable year for me, Wonder Years started in 1988, and that's probably one of my greatest years ever. That's Kirk Gibson's home run, right, for the Dodgers to win. Winning Game 1 of the World Series against Oakland. One of the greatest moments in baseball history, let alone Dodger history, right? Phenomenal a year for me. And so this show kicks off, and Kevin, if I'm not mistaken, is starting 7th grade, and that's exactly where I'm at. And so everything that Kevin experiences on the show, it felt to me as if I was going through all of his things at the same time. I know that this show was created and written by people of the time, right? From who grew up 20 years before, who actually grew up in the 60s and the early to mid 70s. But it was a clear indication to me as I was watching that show that yes, really, all the adults around you at some point, they were your age as well. that they do understand. A lot came out of that show. I don't know if, maybe you talk to the creators and you talk to the writers of the show now, they might tell you, yeah, that was our plan, right? To have a new generation, or the next generation of our children, as the writer is saying, our children understand that we were just like them, and that we are just like them, and that they're going to be just like us. Not exactly, right? Because we all fight wanting to be our parents. But it was probably a point they wanted to make and get across as the show was being made. Kevin growing up and having his close group of friends, his nerdy best friend, Paul Pfeiffer. I had a friend. I don't know if you would call my friend nerdy. He was definitely knowledgeable in a lot of stuff, as was I. But my friend was a lot more daring. And some of you who may listen to this may know who I'm talking about. My friend, his name was Noel, or is Noel. I think he's still around. I just, I don't speak to him anymore. But, he was definitely my best friend. Definitely my best friend. We shared our senses of humor, and experienced a lot of the things that Kevin and Paul experience on the show, from everything from trading baseball cards, walks to school or walks to and from school, arguments, all of that stuff. And then you have Kevin's other neighbor, right? His the love of his life, Winnie Cooper. And I didn't have a neighbor girl that I was in love with the entire time as I went through high school and stuff. But the fact that he was experiencing these relationships, quote unquote, with these girls, these crushes as he's growing up, and then, shorter relationships and eventually longer relationships as he got older. The fact that he was going through that on the show, it felt, again, it's exactly me. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Why do girls behave that way? Or why do we boys do the stupid shit that we do? It was just awesome watching those episodes and going back and, just thinking back. You think about it, man. I'm 45. I'll be 46 in a couple of months here. Time goes by quickly, and all of those memories, they mean so much. The thing is that you set them aside for a long time because you're creating new memories, right? And you're just going through life. But watching it was like, man, what the, everything just rushes back at you. All of your odd and uncomfortable moments from middle school, the uncomfortable moments you may have had in class with your teachers, Kevin went through them. Those uncomfortable moments that you have with the crushes that you develop as the days and weeks and months and years go by. Kevin went through them, just like me. I think the ultimate attraction to that show for me, though, was the time period it takes place in. The fact that it takes place in the 60s and the 70s were time periods that when I was in middle school, my favorite teacher, who actually unknowingly put me on the track to become a teacher, unknowing to me, and of course he had no idea. My 8th grade language arts teacher, Mr. Kate, he, because he was a child of the 60s, we covered all of that stuff during that class, dissecting the Beatles' White Album. I remember, not only dissecting the lyrics, but then dissecting different album covers from different bands. What did they mean? Looking at feminism, you know, things that were, I would consider feminism to be a controversial topic in the 60s, probably still so in the 80s, and not so much now, because I am a total feminist, I will tell you that much. But it wouldn't surprise me if I would have found out later on, and I have since spoken to my teacher, Mr. Kate, but never in that much detail about the stuff that we went over in class. But it would not surprise me if he got some backlash from somebody for the stuff that he would, openly teach or openly speak about in class. If we go back to season 1, episode 2 of my show, and I ranked the 10 greatest movies, and I put Romeo and Juliet on that list, it was because of Mr. Kate. But then think of the time period when Romeo and Juliet came out. 68 or 69 is when that movie came out. I was deep into that time period, into what occurred, into the music, into the culture, into, pop culture. I was deep in it. Deep in it. And The Wonder Years is exactly a part of that. It just worked out that way. And it was perfect for me at the time to get into. And Mr. Kate did some very unorthodox things. But someone's coming in here now. Who's at the door? And they ignored me. Let me take a sip. Who's at the door? Who's at the door? What's up? I was just talking about you. Well, not really. I was talking about the Wonder Years. But I did talk about you. How I'm super proud of you for taking your baking class.
Oh, thanks.
But I don't know. I don't know if you were a Wonder Years fan or else you can join me right now.
I was.
You was?
I was.
Okay, so how about I take a break? Guys, I'll take a break. I'm going to get my wife in here because apparently she woke up. She still looks kind of sleepy. You can see me looking over at her. But if she feels like it, and we'll have a bit of a joint conversation. So guys, I'll be right back because I was interrupted, but in a good way. All right? And that 9.5% is already popping up. Give me a big guys. I'll be back. Everything show. Look at you. Big smile. You're so sexy. I'll be right back, guys. Hey, look who's back. Uh-oh, I hear echo. Am I getting echo? I think we're good. Hey, look, she interrupted me, and now she's in on it, and she was all nervous about it. But you're good, right?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you.
Oh, man, I'm so glad you came in, guys. Rebecca, she's back. I told you, super proud of her because she's been taking this baking class, and this episode is, I'm not going to base it on that. I already told you guys earlier. I told them earlier that I wanted to kind of interview you on it because you've been so dedicated to it that I want them to know how much it takes and how much you've baked and how much you've done, how much you've researched and created and all of this stuff. And so that's going to be till later though. It's going to be another episode, okay? But she came in obviously half asleep. Right?
Yes.
Wow. What were you looking for in here?
I just heard your
Me?
voice. I thought you were. Yeah, I was looking for you. I thought maybe you were talking to your brother.
Oh, okay. Well, you came in at the right time because I decided to record the show, and I was talking about the Wonder Years, and I don't know if you were as big a fan of the Wonder Years as I was growing up. I loved the show, and so. You came home, and as I was watching the very last episode, and I turned off the TV because you were laying down, and you said, "You can keep watching it." And I go, "No, it's the last episode." And you came in right on time because I was going to get emotional, right?
Yes.
That show did everything to me. I already talked to them about how Kevin was going through all the same stuff that it seemed like I was. We were the same age, right? And he has his nerdy friend. I had my nerdy friend, which I've never talked to you about him, but
that's strange.
Yeah, we just never we never talked about. There's a lot of stuff that we don't know about each other when we were like kids.
Yeah, I guess so. That's
right?
true. Yeah.
And so it was a friend of mine named Noel, and I'm telling you, if you ever bring that name up to my parents or my brother, it's like, oh my God, that kid. He was a nutty kid, but he was a good friend. And then of course he has Winnie Cooper, and I'm not saying I had a specific girl that lived across the street, but all those awkward moments that you have with girls as a boy, right?
Right.
With girls, he was going through them, and so honestly, I didn't know that you liked it or that you kind of were into it until you walked in through that door and you go, were you into it? And you said, yeah. I had no idea, even though
I thought everybody was.
Really?
I mean, I know my brother loved it too, and I have a feeling like he enjoyed it.
Your brother Daniel?
Yeah.
Okay. He
enjoyed it more maybe than I did because it's a male perspective. You're hearing the male voice there. It's kind of like that. They do give you some of the girl moments, but you're not in her head. You're in his head.
Sure.
So yeah, I think that it's a little bit more relatable for guys.
The thing with that is when you say you're not in her head, and you're right, you're not.
You don't hear her voice.
It's not
a first person.
Right. But he does so many stupid things, and of course we all do it when we're kids, right? We're growing up, and especially when you're trying to impress a girl. He does so many stupid things that he comes to all of these realizations that she or other girls or other people would make him see. And so yes, you did end up seeing, not all the time, because that was something I really enjoyed about this show, is that everything wasn't just tied neatly in a bow and hey, let's move on to the next one. Right. It
allowed for the awkward moment.
It allowed for more reality.
Yeah.
That this is really what people go through, and it was me. It felt like it was me. And I was telling them that the last couple of weeks were just, with the plumbing shit, and then I went back to school, and then my daughter left for school. Yeah. It was a little harder on me, and so watching the Wonder Years just kind of helped me out.
Yeah, I can understand why that.
It's like you watching all the shows that you watch. And what I mean by that is you watch so many shows. Although right now you're into
baking.
Yes. Who's Nadia?
Nadia bakes. Yeah, and then she has a cooking one too, and I'm watching that. She's so good because she understands being a mom and being busy, and so it's not all from scratch with everything. Some of the stuff is, but some of it's not. So you watch it and you're like, oh, I could do that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to get into your baking shows right now because this is the Wonder Years episode.
Got it.
So you said you were into it. I don't know how much you remember, and obviously all of this is super fresh in my mind because I just got done watching the entire series. But I had told you even before then about some of my favorite episodes. Is there one that sticks out in your mind? Obviously you don't know the name to it. That's fine. I don't know the names of them. But something that it occurred in a specific episode that kind of sticks out in your mind. And it doesn't have to be, Kevin and Winnie related or, all that stuff. It's just something that occurs in that show that was kind of hit close to home. Or just, made you react in a way.
I can't honestly think of a specific. I would need to watch it again. What I did see from
that's not going to help for this particular episode, right? I have nothing to share. I'm just here for
I didn't say that.
I'm just here for a pretty face.
Whatever. From what I do remember,
no, a pretty face is this one.
I know it's all right there.
Okay. Look at you going out shot. Stay in shot.
What I do remember, from this weekend when I was watching a little bit with you was that kissing episode, right? They're invited to the makeout party.
Yes, that's and I had told you this is a great episode because that one stuck out in my head. Not that I was ever at a party and experienced that, but that awkwardness of people know that I might be making out with a girl that, which is what they experienced. Yeah, that's a great episode.
So I remember relating to those emotions,
of
feeling awkward and so uncomfortable.
Making out with people?
No, not making out with people, feeling so uncomfortable that you want to run away.
Yeah.
Like running away.
Yeah.
And being uncomfortable, and then actually having somebody upset with you because you didn't, I guess,
go through with it.
Yeah, because you were so nervous.
Yeah.
So all that. I remember in the episode when she talks to him later that night, and she tells him, like, are you mad at me? And like,
yeah.
And then now, like, being a mom and being from this perspective of like, oh my God, it's so wrong. Like, it's so wrong that she's having all these emotions and she needed to do what she needed to do for her. Mm-hmm. Yet her concern is him.
Yeah.
No.
You're right. And I think that was also maybe like a sign of the times and stuff. Sure.
Even to date, even like when we were kids, definitely, still the concern was, oh, is he going to be mad at me? How do I fix this so that they're not mad at me? And I don't know. It just brings up other issues for me. Thinking like,
I'm gonna get back to that episode right now, but just on the point of, it was all like you said that it was through the boys' perspective and that, right? And yes, you're right. Especially in situations like that, they were. But later on, as the series progresses and they get into the 70s, mm-hmm. then they're talking about women's rights and mm-hmm. feminism and stuff, and they turn the tables, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. Even though it's still not his perspective, right? But he has to. They're forced, him and his father, actually, in a situation mm-hmm. where they're forced to deal with the fact that his mom mm-hmm. and Winnie mm-hmm. are women, mm-hmm. and they believe in the movement. It's a pretty good episode. But the one about the making out, though, I don't know the name of the episode, guys, but they're very young, so it's like season 3 maybe, and so everyone at their school knows that they're a couple, mm-hmm. And they get invited. This one specific, he's a 9th grader, so they're in the 7th grade. I think it's the 2nd season. A 9th grader invites them to his parties, and everyone knows that his parties are the makeout parties. They're super nervous. They kind of want to go, but they're really nervous about going, and they kind of don't want to go. Mm-hmm. And ultimately they do. And when they arrive, they see like, hey, it's just a bunch of kids, playing Twister and dancing and shit.
The pressure's off.
Yeah. And so they're all relaxed and stuff, and they're dancing, and then suddenly the kid who's hosting the party flicks off the lights, and it's like it's on, and you can feel their tension, right? Like, oh my God, their nervousness, like, what are we gonna do? Who's gonna get chosen? And it feels like this like back room in their basement. And I remember I told Rebecca, the music that kicks in when this happens, and it's, I don't know how many people are going to know this, my brother. It's Iron Butterflies, Inagata DeVito, which is totally psychedelic, right? And it fits in perfect because psychedelia and feeling weird and things that you're thinking in your head. It's a really great episode. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that one up because I don't think I would have. I probably would have forgotten. But it is a good one. That is a good one. I forget the name of it, but that's a great one. I love that episode. Were you gonna add something?
I could relate to that one in the sense of like they put them in this room with these beads that you have to go through, and then the beanbag is there.
Beanbags and a black light.
And then everybody else in the other room, it's like either they're watching through the beads or they're listening. Yeah. So it's like it's not just an awkward moment, but the spotlight is on them. Right. Okay, so I had a similar experience.
Oh, hang on. They were chosen, they were chosen kind of via, quote unquote, a spotlight. The host has a flashlight, and he's going like round and round. Who nobody knows however it goes, right? Yeah. Where it stops, nobody knows. And then they stop on Kevin and Winnie, and then they go into that room. Yeah. So you had a similar experience, huh, Cochina?
Of having the spotlight on me.
Oh my gosh! Yes. My logo was on my face, so in the middle of that's gonna move. So sorry, guys. You did, huh?
Yeah. So
do I want to hear this?
I'll tell you.
Double knuckle.
What?
Good. Stop. Go ahead.
The moment is I ran away. Oh. Well, I didn't really run away, but I had gone out kind of on a date with a boy, and there were other people there. I was a freshman.
Okay,
in high school.
Oh, you're ready, though.
but I definitely was, but I was very nervous because I really liked this boy. Okay. And so we went out on this day, and we did all kinds of, there was like this winter thing going on at Knott's Berry Farm, and then we went to the mall after.
You did all
this stuff going on. Okay, so
wait, what do you mean you went to the mall after?
Yeah, because it was like a specific thing going on at Knott's, so you weren't there for Knott's Berry Farm. You were just there for like, it was like a dinner or something.
Okay.
Yeah, like the restaurant outside.
I never went to Knott's, it's still beneath me. Go ahead.
So we went there, and then it gets to later in the night, and I'm gonna be driven home, and there's a couple of other guys in the car.
You mean driven home in a car, though, right?
Yes, of course. And they pull up to my house in the driveway, and
Your grandma's house?
No, it was a different house that we lived at the time. And he walks me up to the front of the front door.
Oh, he's gonna kiss you
at the front door. Okay,
mm-hmm.
And the headlights for the car are on the front door.
That's great.
Okay, and I was so
your friends
nervous.
Are assholes.
Yeah,
those guys are assholes. Man.
I was so nervous, and I'm sure they were doing that probably to him because they were his friends.
Sure.
So
but,
they, maybe
they don't care about you.
They were trying to make him nervous, but they just made me really nervous. So he goes in to kiss, and I kind of like kiss and go back, but not like real kiss, just like peck kiss. And I guess he's so nervous.
Kind of like the way we kiss now, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So, I guess he's nervous, and so he just leaves, right?
He's pissed?
He's pissed, but I don't realize he's pissed.
Sure.
I'm all happy because, hey, to me, it's a step forward. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
In my mind, it's like, I'm
not a kid anymore. Yeah.
It's just a step forward towards like, okay, well, maybe the next time when the car lights are not on my porch.
Sorry, babe. I put these on and I see the glare on it, and it's just like.
So I'm thinking, hey, this is it'll get better because next time maybe there won't be other people watching and I'll feel more comfortable. Okay. No, the next day I call to talk to him.
Wait a minute, you called him?
I called him. I think it was right before the holidays, and so I called to say like Merry Christmas or something like that. And I call, and he's like short on the phone.
Oh, what a dick.
And then I'm like, oh my gosh, something's wrong.
What a douche.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, all this drama happens afterwards, but it was just that awkward moment. I'll stop right there with the story.
That's super. Why?
Because it just went on
You're
for a long
sharing too
time.
much? You're afraid your children are going to
No, not at all. I just think, it was like drama that went on for months afterwards.
Oh.
It was just dumb.
What
dumb beginning high school stuff. For sure.
That happened in high school to you?
It was my freshman year, yeah.
That wasn't your first kiss, though.
No, but kind of. Like, it was still always just pecks.
How does that even make sense?
There's
an episode.
Okay, listen, I had awkward junior high years.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
My parents went through a divorce. I changed schools.
All of this stuff, by the way, is addressed on the show, and I know you probably don't remember, but a lot of that stuff through his friends that who go through divorce, who go through moving, going from one town to another. Obviously, that means changing schools.
Yeah.
All of that stuff is addressed on the show, which is part of the reason why I liked it. I didn't experience that, right? I didn't experience divorce or moving or stuff like that. As a matter of fact, when we had an opportunity to move during high school, like we told my dad, no, we can't move, and they waited.
Yeah,
and they waited.
For me.
Yeah, I know. In retrospect, we should have gotten the fuck out of there as soon as we possibly could, but we were fully entrenched. Yeah, that is a very awkward.
That's an awkward moment.
Awkward.
Like lights on the front porch.
Yeah.
Boom. It's like no thanks.
It was like the main show. A bunch of those episodes, as I told you, resonated with me. All of those awkward moments. They were more private, by the way. It wasn't like, car headlights on me or on her. But it was. I need to talk to her. No, I can't talk to her. I need to go talk to her. No, I can't talk to her. And all that stuff. It still happened it still happened on the show when they were in high school. You know, I need to, and the thing is that when you're in high school, instead of it being that puppy love thing, it's suddenly the hormones that it's like I need to because I need to jump someone's bones or else I'm gonna explode. You know, they don't specifically tell you that that's what it is, right? But of course, you know, they had episodes where, you know, there was their super hot their hot history teacher who pulls down a map, right? And she's like, yesterday we were talking about Africa and the countries and blah blah blah, right? And she says, can anyone tell me 2 African nations that we discussed yesterday? And everyone was just quiet because, you know, that's what kids do. And she calls on some boy randomly, and she pulls down the map and she goes, come up here and point out one of the countries that we talked about yesterday. And he goes, I can't. My foot hurts, right? But everyone knows, like, this guy's hard up right now. He has a hard on, but they don't say it because Kevin looks over at him, and you know the voiceover is like, "Yeah, boys always experience like odd things, odd pains, or something like that." He says, and so as a boy, I know, the kid was hard up because he's trying to look up his hot teacher's skirt, right? Like all that type of stuff. I told him that. I was telling our 6 listeners, that the show, because it took place when it took place, it was the 60s and 70s time period that I was covering, that we were talking about in my 8th grade language arts class with my teacher, Mr. Kate. I think that's when you walked in, right around there. Okay. He unknowingly to him, and of course, I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do with myself, right? But he's really the reason why I became a teacher. And he was one of those teachers that was very experimental, and we talked about feminism, and even, I mean, if you think about it, back in the 80s, late 80s, it was still a thing where, like, what do you mean women? You know, it was still a thing. And I was telling our small audience here that I'm pretty sure, something tells me that he probably got some crap from people, you know, for teaching some of the stuff that he did.
Oh, without a doubt.
That, you know, we discussed, you know, 60s counterculture, you know, the Beatles' White Album. Obviously, we talk about Helter Skelter because it's on that album, and then we talk about Charles Manson. Who the fuck does that?
Yeah.
Okay? But I mean, but he brings it because I think he knew that somewhere along the way, you know, within 2 weeks of that unit being taught, that someone was going to find that out. So it's like, let me just tell them about it. This is what was going on. That's what I think. Okay, that's what I think. He didn't go into detail like, oh, she was pregnant, and you know.
Well, maybe you're right, because I didn't have any teachers who talked about that, and I knew about all of it.
Sure. Okay.
So, yeah.
So there you go. You know, and I think it was also his way of saying, you know, I have an opportunity to talk to these kids about things that.
I wonder if he would have the same perspective today as he did then.
I don't know. The guy, I spoke to him a couple of times after. He was still teaching the last time I spoke to him, but he was teaching up in Washington, Washington State. He was into. He would play music. I found out way later.
He belongs in Washington State. Huh?
Yeah.
More progressive.
Yes, I found out. You're right.
Yeah.
I found out way later that he had written tons of songs, songs that were sung by Dionne Warwick. I'm not that was like
nice.
Maybe not like a number 1 hit. I think the song went to like 6 or 7, but you know the guy made some money off of it, right? But you know, I can't say that he did a lot. He wrote songs for like Ted Nugent, who fucking. Super conservative a-hole now, but yes, absolutely super famous. So he did stuff like that, designed record albums, you know, covers. Anyway, because I was so caught up in that time period because of him, and also, you know, I was always into the music from the time, thanks to my dad. I was just into it. But one of my favorite episodes, and it's really difficult to watch, is, and I told you about this one. It's actually called Homecoming, and it's the first episode of the last season. And his brother, Kevin's brother, Wayne, his friend They both try to go to get into the army. His friend gets in, but Wayne doesn't, right? And that's because Wayne already has it in his head that he's stupid, and so he's like, there's nothing else I can do. I'm going to go to the army. His dad
went to the army too.
His dad, but didn't want him to go. He goes, you have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, he tells him straight up, you're going to go to basic training, and after that, they're sending your ass to Vietnam. You're not even going to know it's coming. You're just going to be there. And so just watching that, you're like, man, the fear that parents had to feel in that situation, right? So anyway, he doesn't get in. Okay, the season goes on. That was like in season 5. The season ends, and then season 6, the first one is called Homecoming, and his friend comes home from the army, and this kid was a super goofy dude, right? But he comes back and he's all proper and trained, and Wayne tells them, hey, let's hang out tonight. Let's go to, they have the homecoming game today. Oh yeah, cool, let's go. We'll make fun of it. Like, he kind of wants to go back to when he was a kid, just kind of fucking around, right? As he's there, I had forgotten this, when he's there, someone yells out, because they know he's a soldier. Someone yells out to him, murderer. And he clearly hears it, and he goes, who said that, right? He starts looking around, who said that? And Kevin and Wayne go, oh, don't worry about it, just ignore it. But he's feeling all of this pressure, like, I have to be something that I don't want to be. Before he goes, he gets out of his uniform. He just wants to dress normally, so people don't know that he's a soldier. So then they do that whole murderer thing, and he feels this pressure, and he goes, you know what, guys, I'm going to go for a walk. I'm just going to go. And Wayne goes, let me go with you. He goes, no, it's cool. I know my way. He goes, I just kind of want to check out the school. I'll meet you guys up later. I'll meet with you guys up later. No problem. And so he walks off, right? The backdrop to the story is Kevin trying to steal the other school's owl. Okay? And the reason why they do that is because he's concerned with all of this bullshit, insignificant crap. But his brother's friend comes back, and he was in it. Like, he saw things that were not for kids anymore. He's experienced life in a way that no one should probably ever experience it. Anyway, he ends up stealing the owl, and he's running away with it, and he goes onto a baseball field. Very similar to like the baseball field at El Rancho, it's kind of away from the football field. And he sees that there's this kid sitting on a bench, and he calls out to him. I think they call him Wart. It's like short for his last name, right? He goes, Wart, is that you? And the kid's just looking down, right? And he's just in his boxer shorts. And out in front of him, he folded all of his clothes neatly, like they teach you. It's really rough. It's really rough. He's struggling with the fact, because his friends ask him, did you kill anybody? Like, it's just matter of fact. And he's like, come on. Like, he doesn't want to answer. So obviously he has. So that he's going through this struggle, and Wayne finds him. And he tells him, hey, how's it going? I'm all right. They ignore the fact that he's in his underwear, right? Just like they understand he's going through some shit. And he goes, what's up with the clothes? He just said, what's up with the clothes? And he goes, nothing seems to fit anymore. Oh, wow. Horrible. It's horrible. Oh my God. It's rough. And Wayne takes off his shirt. What the fuck? And I remember watching that and going, oh my God. I remember watching it when it first came out, and it didn't affect me like this, right? And then when I watched it this time, I got just like a lump in my throat. But right now is the most, and I know it's the fucking beer.
No, I think it's that you're talking about it.
But it was beautiful, and they just hug. And Kevin goes, what the fuck am I doing? All this shit is going on around me, and I'm concerned with stealing a fucking owl. That's why that show was such a big deal to me, because it dealt in it. Let's see. kids were watching it.
Yeah.
Kids were watching it, as well as the adults that lived through that time, right? Mm-hmm. Like I told them, the writers of the show were from that time, 20 years before. So they were writing it for them, and from their perspective, right? Sure. But kids were watching it, kids my age. Mm-hmm. It was intense, but they didn't fuck around with you. Mm-hmm. As much as they could at the time, right? Mm-hmm. They didn't fuck around with you. They told you, this is the shit that people went through. This is the shit that kids went through. Mm-hmm. That's the first instance I remember of anyone ever discussing, before it had a term, right? Mm-hmm.
Like PTSD.
PTSD. Mm-hmm. But what would they call it back then? Shell-shocked? Stuff like that, right?
They had said that.
Right?
Yeah.
It was, Kevin realizes all of this stuff is going on, and I'm being a kid. And at the same time, though my brother didn't go, mm-hmm. He's growing up, mm-hmm. having to deal and help his friend who was struggling with this. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful, beautiful episode, but like I said, just really difficult. That 3-minute stretch, really, it's just like, it's super short.
Right.
That is so hard, but you can kind of understand. Obviously, I've never been at war, but I mean, it's that.
No, I mean you're able to empathize.
That episode has always stuck with me. Mm-hmm. Aside from all of these other ones, right? The arguments that you have with your parents.
Yeah, the frustration.
The frustrations you have. They don't get me. They don't understand me. Meanwhile, asshole, I fucking know exactly what.
Your parents are going through their own stuff.
Yeah, all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a great show, and obviously, you guys saw. I'm always fucking emotional. I don't know why. Why all the fucking time over everything? But it's the nostalgia. It's the reminiscing. It's putting me back in that situation mm-hmm. at that time in my life.
But I think, too, it's so much of what we're going through today, too. Like, it's relatable to today.
Yeah.
There's so many people who are going through those things. There's so many people dealing with those kinds of issues. And all they really need is a little bit of empathy and a little bit of compassion and some time and effort, Bottom line, the show taught me a lot. Mm-hmm. That whatever it is I was feeling was normal. Mm-hmm. From the feelings I had towards the opposite sex mm-hmm. to the feelings I had towards my brother, who was an asshole when we were kids. I saw him that way. I'm sure he saw me as an asshole too. To my parents. Mm-hmm. To all the situations that you encounter when you're in school, mm-hmm. just all of that stuff. It was a great show. It is a great show.
Hang on, I had to stop it because it's 30 minutes.
Okay.
So I stopped at 30, but I'm going to put it back. Okay. Ready? And I'll do this. I'll edit that.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Nope, that's not going to work. Actually, I could do this. That part sucks.
How do you know?
That I'm telling you, that show that particular episode. I'm wasted now. And what I mean by wasted is not drunk. I'm like emotionally tired. It always happens when I talk about stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I have to be honest with you, mm-hmm. I knew a little bit that I might get that way mm-hmm. talking about this show.
Yeah. Well, especially when you just finished it and you finished it with an emotional end.
Oh, it's fresh.
Yeah.
You're right. It's absolutely fresh. But
I'm curious to see, because you said that they're going to do a reboot. Right?
Oh, yes, they're rebooting it.
I'm curious to see if they address the issues.
Well, let me tell you.
They need to address.
I'll tell you who's involved. So they are rebooting the Wonder Years, but it's still in the same time period, so 1968.
Okay, yeah.
With a black family from Alabama. And Fred Savage, Kevin Arnold, of course, Fred Savage is producing it, mm-hmm. along with Lee Daniels.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, it would be really important that you
right. And so Yeah, except it's a family of 4. It's the parents and then a sister and then the youngest boy. I guess I don't know if it's going to be his perspective. Most likely, I'm just thinking. But yeah, they're rebooting it, and it's supposed to be on ABC again. It's supposed to be, I think, at the end of this year, so the fall. Okay. Kind of looking forward to it. I hope that they address, like you said, what African Americans went through, what have gone through, especially in that time period. They have to. There's no way they can gloss over that.
Well, I just hope they don't sugarcoat anything.
Yeah, I really hope they don't. It would have been, obviously people don't think this way, but if they would have had it running concurrently, you know what I mean? Because, Kevin's family, they're middle class from, I don't know where, but just they're middle class. And they're white. So there's even a scene in the first or second season.
They're working middle class.
Yes.
Though. So, there's still some financial struggles that you
Sure. And they, they had that. But there wasn't the societal struggles that they went through, at least not like that. Their big issue was the older sister Karen, who was super progressive and a hippie and all that.
Yeah.
But there was a point I was going to make and I forgot.
You were hoping that maybe they run them.
Oh, if they would have run back in the 80s, if they would have run them concurrently, right? A white family and a black family, like that would have been interesting to see those two perspectives. Not in that, which one is right and which one is wrong. It was like, how would society react?
It'll be interesting to see that today.
Yeah,
though,
sure.
Because you still have so many of these issues going on.
Yes, you do. Probably every single one.
But it's also like this lack of wanting to admit to the issues that have happened for, minorities, specifically African Americans.
Yeah, I'm sure 30 years from now they're gonna have the, Los Años Maravillosos from here in East LA or something. It's gonna be.
That would actually be a really fun one.
That was that's what
get the whole Chicano movement going.
That's what they. That was a translation for the show in Spanish. The Los Años Maravillosos. Yeah, but it's gonna take fucking 30 years, right? Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's it for my Wonder Years episode. What do you think? Did I fuck you up? I'm sorry.
No. It's a good. I like the discussion.
She was close to breaking down when I was breaking down with that episode.
But I have to maintain my stoicism.
I'm telling you, man, she is.
I'm just calm.
She is a samurai warrior. This one,
calm.
She is. I'm not.
I have too much training with seriously at work with mental health issues. So
I don't have any.
I listen, and I don't make it about me.
I don't have any, but yeah.
I have to do that at work.
What?
I have to do a lot of in-class counseling.
Yeah, I think on a daily basis, right? I would do it every so often, but
yeah. No, yeah, on a daily basis.
Okay, you win. You win. You didn't.
Everybody's
you weren't counseling me right now.
No,
you are cold.
No, I'm not.
You are.
I am not. That's the thing.
Cold.
You have to not make it about yourself. You have to be able to like.
Did I make this about myself?
No, this was about you. This was about you watching the show and the emotions that you got from it and how you felt.
But you said
so. I shouldn't go in there and try and turn it around and make it about me.
You mean in trying to help if you were trying to calm me down? You mean?
Well, I didn't need to calm you down because you're able to calm yourself down.
Oh, you don't know. The moment you leave, I'm gonna
no.
start crying. It was a like I said, there were some duds. Obviously, in 6 years and in seasons that span like 20 to 25 episodes, there's episodes that suck. I mean, that's the truth. Sure. But a lot of them were moving, and that one is just probably the best one of all of them. Like I said, difficult to watch, but a great episode. And I really enjoyed how nothing is simple and nothing was always just fixed. I mean, there's another episode over here trying to end the show, but there's one episode where Kevin lets it out to the guys that when he slept over at his house, and his friends tell him, "Oh, what did you do?" And he doesn't clean up the situation. He says, "What do you think?" He just says like, "Use your imaginations." And he goes, "But don't say anything." And then of course, fucking every high school being high school, everybody tells everybody, and it gets back to Winnie, and she's super upset and heartbroken. Like, yeah, fucking asshole, right? Mm-hmm. And then here's a good one, especially for the time. You know, he thinks it's not a big deal, and he's like, he goes to his dad for advice, and he wants to talk to his dad, and he goes, "Hey, Dad, you know, I got this stuff going on with Winnie and blah blah blah." And so the voiceover interjects, right? And so you hear the voiceover instead of Kevin telling his dad at the moment, right? Mm-hmm. And then he gets to that moment where he told his dad about what happened with the guys in the locker room. Mm-hmm. And then his dad had been putting trash in a bag. He was going to take the trash out in the kitchen. And the voiceover ends, and he looks at him super pissed off, and he says, "Get in your car, go to her house, and apologize." And Kevin's like thrown back, like, shit, I thought my dad was going to quote unquote understand. He
did understand.
He understood.
He messed up.
Yes, he understood the fucked up part.
He didn't take his side.
Right. He didn't understand Kevin's perspective. He's like, screw you, you jacked up, right? Mm-hmm.
But isn't that what you need sometimes?
Absolutely. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's not like they just said that his dad may have gone again. A sign of the times where he could have just said,
yeah.
Right? And left it at that, which would have been totally acceptable because if you think about it, a sign of the times, right? But his dad was like, that's still wrong. Mm-hmm. And here, as Kevin realizes, like, oh shit, maybe I did mess up because my dad just told me I messed up. Mm-hmm. He asks his dad, you think she's gonna either understand or accept my apology? I forget how he puts it. Mm-hmm. And his dad goes, as he's walking away from him with the trash, he says, "I wouldn't." And so he's like, fuck, man, like I fucked up. Like it was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
But you know what? He's right. Because a man typically wouldn't accept
you're right.
They would say, you know what, F you.
Yeah.
I'm out. But women
be
a little bit more forgiving.
This is exactly what this show would bring out internally. The internal dialogue that you have with yourself. Mm-hmm. You're like, man, I got to be careful not to do that. Or shit, I did that. Or I did something similar. And I'm not talking about that particular instance, just things in general on the show. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, that's what I said. That's why I said it was so real. It felt so real that these things actually, this is exactly what I was going through, you know. You have the people talking, you're going out with someone, and so it's automatic. Oh yeah, they're banging. Mm-hmm. Like you don't. How can you just go about saying that, and then the word just goes and goes and goes, and mm-hmm. It took him a long time to get Winnie back, but you know she's like I can't.
Yeah.
He goes. This is great. He goes, and you know he says, "I'm sorry, Winnie. I know I let it get too far." He you know he's going through his spiel, and they're on her porch, right? And he says, can I just come in and, you know, mm-hmm. and just kind of talk about it? And she goes, oh yeah, you want to come in? And she opens the door completely, right? She goes, well, I'm home alone, I'm all yours. Like, oh man. And he's like, oh. He doesn't close his eyes. He's kind of like in shock, like, fuck yeah, I deserve it. Uh-huh. You know, that's another good episode, right?
Yeah.
Because he's in such a rush, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a voiceover that goes at the end of that episode where they show Kevin and Winnie when they're little, like they're like 5 or 6 years old and they're riding away on a bike. He goes, I messed up the best thing I had in my entire life, and it was innocent with my best friend and the girl that was there every single day of my life that we've experienced everything, and I fucked it up. And that's how they would end the shows. Mm-hmm. You're like, How the fuck is he gonna get out? How's he gonna get out of this one? Should he? Should he get out of it?
Well,
I guess
you want him to, because obviously he's your protagonist, right?
He's your hero. Yeah. But you don't have to, and you know that also in reality that there would have been situations where the girl would have said in real life, right?
Yeah.
No, fuck you.
In real life,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so she essentially tells him, fuck you. Mm-hmm. But, you know, he is persistent. Like, I know I messed up, you know, I know. And it goes on for like 4 or 5 episodes, you know, it goes on for a while.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was another good one. Mm-hmm. The pressures of sex mm-hmm. and friends, and it's just a good show.
Yeah. A lot of lessons.
A lot of lessons. A lot of lessons. Yeah, tons of them. Or the one where Kevin finds out that Paul isn't a virgin anymore, mm-hmm. but Paul doesn't know how to process it. He
really?
Yeah. He doesn't know how to process it. Uh-huh. He goes, "What am I supposed to do with this? Mm-hmm. Like, was that?" He goes, "She was here. The girl was his mom's college roommate's daughter. Okay.
Okay.
And they came over just for whatever. And she was already in college. Okay. He was either a sophomore or a junior. Okay.
Ooh, so she was advantage.
Yeah. Well. Okay. So
okay.
Well, you haven't seen. Well, yeah, no, but I'm going to tell you the story because you haven't. I don't think you've seen it. Uh-huh. And so Kevin just wants to go out. Come on, man, let's go out. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. He goes, I can't. You know, my mom wants me to be here and meet this girl and blah. Right? He goes, oh, and Kevin's all pissed. Kevin leaves. They're having this dinner, and then Kevin does his thing, and then Paul shows up at his kitchen window, knocks on the window, and he goes, hey, can you talk? Yeah. And they go outside and they start talking. And Paul tells him, mm-hmm. you know, this happened, right? And Kevin's super excited, like, yeah, tell me, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, you know, I don't really know. It all happened so fast. Everything was dark. Mm-hmm. And now she's gone. She's like, what do I do with this?
Yeah.
And Kevin's like, shit, what do you do with this, right? And I guess there's a voiceover part, and they take off. They go to the airport because she's leaving already. They're on a flight, and you know he's saying, did she like me? Was I any good, or was I bad? Like what?
Yeah.
Like what do I take away from this? That's horrible for your first experience, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's horrible, period, to be honest with you, but.
Yeah.
But the extra emotional stuff like that, did she? Ultimately he realizes she used me.
Yeah,
you know? she used me for for if she had pleasure or not, because he doesn't even know. Mm-hmm. Like it was bad. Yeah. It was bad, and Kevin's like, oh shit, do I want?
He was taken advantage of.
Yeah, he doesn't. Kevin doesn't talk about this, right? But you can just like, do I want to even be involved in something like that? Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, I want to jump someone's bones, but at what cost?
Yeah, but I mean, the whole difference is between having a relationship with somebody and someone just showing up.
Oh well, sure.
Yeah.
Sure, that was he was always in a relationship.
But it's a whole different level of complications.
Mm-hmm. It was a great one. Of course, these are when they're older, right?
Yeah.
When they're little, it's I remember having a crush on them.
Innocent.
Yeah. When they get older and it's more complicated, mm-hmm. Because now you're not just worried about that particular person that you care for, mm-hmm. or even just you. Now, what do they think? What are these people going to think? And
then I think the real maturity is getting past that and not caring.
And not caring, right?
Yeah.
They never really get to that in the show because it ends sort of abruptly, but. Mm-hmm. Anyway, those are really good shows. Those were really good episodes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think it's great.
How about in a couple of days we get together and we do another episode, and this one we talk about your baking. Because I'm really impressed by it.
Uh-huh.
Not that you couldn't do it, because I know you could.
Yeah.
But the fact that you decided to fucking do it at all.
Uh-huh.
Because a 30-day course.
Yeah.
At the end of seriously, at the end of the school year, mm-hmm. you know you're wasted already. You're tired as shit.
Yes.
Along with everything else that you have to do, you know, baseball games and fucking brushing girls' hair, taking care of me, like all of that stuff, right? And then you go, you know what? I'm gonna do this 30-day course. Like, what the fuck?
I'm so happy that life is starting to get back to normal. So baseball games are a joy to me right now. Just to be outside and watch Micah play and see how happy he is and see those boys just, you know, trying their best, and it's so nice.
You know what? I'm gonna say I don't want to interrupt your good thoughts and your good vibes, but I'm gonna interrupt it because we got our fucking first Dodger game next Friday. Mm-hmm. 2 years, almost 2 years in the making here. Yeah. Year for sure. Yeah. It was supposed to be. We were supposed to go to opening day last year. Mm-hmm. Literally, opening day last year was on Rebecca's birthday. Mm-hmm. We had amazing seats at Dodger Stadium. Of course, the world gets flipped upside down, and they were like, "What the fuck are we gonna do with this?" I was out.
A lot of money.
I was gonna say it.
A lot of money.
I think I said that. You may have heard. I'm gonna say it because whatever. Because it's the truth. We don't spend this on everybody. We just spend it on each other. Like, fuck the kids. $900 on these 2 seats, right? For opening day, mind you, though. Okay, for opening day. Mm-hmm. But the money was left there in my StubHub account, and I go, you know what? Let's go. It doesn't matter what it costs. It ended up costing the same, if not a little bit more. But
that's because of
inflation and the fact that they won the championship.
Economics.
And all. Yes, the fact that they won the title.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be there next week, and I'm super pumped up about it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so yes, things are getting back to normal. You baking, me recording and crying like I fucking always do, but it actually felt good.
Yeah, it's cathartic.
Because there was a lot of shit going on that it's like, oh God.
I'm telling you, that's why girls cry. Okay. They cry because it makes you feel better later.
Okay, well, my vagina's coming in right now.
Hey, that's fine. It's good for you. You're lucky.
I'm just going to play with myself more.
Even better.
I'm going to play with myself more.
Even better. That's why I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, guys, listen.
You realize our boys watch your show, right?
I don't care.
Okay.
And what I mean by I don't care is that, come on, they know. I think our boys are... Huh?
I don't think they know as much as... I think Gabriel knows.
Okay. Okay, so then...
Micah, I don't think...
Okay, well...
I think Micah's still obsessed just with sports right
now.
My
nephew knows the deal too.
I don't know. Maybe more than I think, but I think maybe less than you think.
Listen, I think he doesn't share because he's embarrassed, which means he's already hit.
Oh no, the emotions, the feelings, yes,
that's what I mean.
No, though.
No. Of course, Gabriel doesn't know either, but
he knows more than you think. He knows.
No. I know what he. I have a feeling I know what he knows, but he doesn't know it like that either.
Yeah.
But he hasn't hit that point where like, oh, I'm shy about this. I'm embarrassed by it. He hasn't hit it yet.
No,
he will, but he hasn't hit it yet. To him, it's still a joke and stuff like that. But he knows so much anyway.
Yes.
That's it for today's episode, all right?
Okay.
Season 2, episode 7 of The Everything Show. Guys, The Wonder Years, check it out on Hulu. Obviously, I don't get any money for that. It's a great show. Maybe you guys will get as emotional as I do in either watching it or recalling it. It was great. I'll probably do another episode like this, but I'll be talking about Three's Company. Although that show never made me cry. It was just fucking hilarious. Oh, right?
Yeah, it was funny.
So, anyway.
I watched that all the time.
Yeah, you see.
I used to watch MASH.
Oh, MASH. I couldn't stand MASH, but I'm sure it was good. It was just, there was something melancholy about it. And I think it was the theme song.
Yeah.
That made it, anyway.
I always watched it.
And of course, fucking Korean War. You know what? I'm not gonna talk about Star Trek with you. I'm not doing this. I'm not gonna do this right now. Okay. Not at the end of the episode, okay? We can talk about it on your baking episode. So.
Okay.
Season 2, episode 7 of The Everything Show, guys. Thank you very much for joining. Miha, thank you for coming in and interrupting because you became a part. Say bye to everybody. Guys, take it easy. Say good night, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.
All right, guys. Take it easy, guys.
Are you talking about George? I don't know. What are you talking about?
I'm going to wait till you say it.
Really? Are you using that? Okay, never mind. Let's just go.
George and Gracie Allen. You had it.
I
You
did.
got it.
Okay,
All right.
okay. You're talking about church. Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
You got it. You got it.
Okay, thanks.
I like doing
All
that
right,
because then she
good
freaks
night,
out.
Gracie.
Good night, Gracie. There's no Grace here. All right. That should be your sign off. Just
Do we have to have a sign off?
no. Okay. See you guys.